All right. Good morning, friends. Good morning, Joel.
Morning,
Joel.
sir.
So finally, we're doing our second broadcast. We did one earlier for the JVP recruitment, but this broadcast is for the book. It's for the book. It's the story of the Prudent Nurse. Okay. So, Joel, greet our audience first. They want to hear from you now.
Uh, Good morning, viewers. I'm so glad to that you joined us in this live interview. I hope that you stay with us until the end of the live interview. You'll be able to see our story and pick some inspiration and lessons from the topic that we are about to talk about.
Yes. Okay. So Joel, what I think what we want to accomplish this morning, no? For first, I think this would be a good opportunity and occasion to launch the Facebook page of the book.
Yes,
We have created a Facebook page, and this is the official launch of this page. And
yes,
when we started this, si Joel ang tanong sa akin, how do you create a page? Joel is very new in this creation of Facebook pages, but we're working together to do this thing. And then the second thing is this is also an occasion for us. This would be an FB live launch of the book, okay? Because this book, I understand, has been launched 3 years ago, right, Joel?
yes,
Yes. So this will be the Facebook version of that launch 3 years after its official launch.
yes.
Okay. So Joel, maybe we should begin with a bit of history. Okay. Let's have a bit of history of this book. Okay.
Yes.
Tell us the story of this book. How did it start? How it is now? Tell us about its history.
Okay. The history of the book actually started way back in 1986. It started with all those articles that I compiled. It composed mostly of short story articles, essays, poems, news that I compiled all through the years. And then after so many years, I decided I told myself, why don't we put this masterpiece into one book? And so after years of contemplation, preparation, all this came into fruition. And this book, I say, it's my legacy, legacy that will wherein people at least will remember me that at one point in my life I was able to create a masterpiece which I believe will not only benefit myself and also for those people who wants to draw inspiration from the story of a prudent nurse.
Yes. So how is the book now? I mean, how is the book now? How can we talk about sales or yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
well, as far as I know, so far the book has already reached more than 200 copies of sale.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't really at first. But my purpose was only to publish a book. But much to my surprise, the book has reached its sales beyond my expectation. I was only been expecting maybe people will only buy maybe 10 copies of it or 10 copies, but after almost 3 years in the process, the book has reached more than 200 sales. And in fact, up to this time, people still like to order the book and like to read what's the story about what's in the story which nobody knows what's in it.
I see. Correct. And have you received any feedback from your readers? What feedback have you received from your readers about this book?
I would like to share some of the feedback. I think, especially those feedbacks that were published by Amazon. One I got like a 5 thumbs up. They said a must read book, and an altruism where a person who started from scratch was able to clone himself to to reach to his uh, goals through perseverance, sacrifices, and never to give up.
I see. Joel, I'm curious. Okay? There are so many forms of communication. Okay? But why did you choose a book as the medium of communication? Why not a newsletter? Why not a magazine? Why not a movie? Why not a video? Why not, why a book? Why a book? Why publish a book?
Okay, before I answer that question, I just like to let you know that before I decided to publish a book, I contemplate so many times. And I believe that publishing a book is an expression of oneself, expression of what's the feeling and what's in the heart and soul of a person. And publishing a book it also gives you a way of letting people knows that in each person we have always their talent, we have the skills, the knowledge, and each person. And this talent doesn't only comes from us. It comes from our divine providence. And publishing a book is also gives you meaning. It gives you meaning because you are able to share part of yourself to other people through your stories.
Yes, correct. And then Joel, I'm curious about the title. Okay, the title of your book. Okay, so the prudent nurse. Why specify the qualities of prudence? Why
Okay,
did you choose the adjective prudent
okay.
Mhm.
I chose the word or the adjective prudence because it tells what a nurse is. When you say prudence, that means you're a very kind-hearted person. You are a kind-hearted person who doesn't only think for yourself, but also you think for other people. You think for the needs of others, and you put yourself behind b- and let the needs of other people come first.
I see. Correct. And okay, so prudence. And in your story, okay, in your story, how does prudence apply in your story as a prudent nurse?
The word prudence in my story actually takes so many meanings, but the central focus of that word prudence in my book is how I see myself as a messenger of God, try making my best to make other people happy, to be an angel, to be like an angel here on earth, spreading the mission of God, helping people get back on their feet. At the same time, help making a difference by helping these patients to be able to go back to their optimum level of functioning.
Yes. And then I'm also curious about the format, okay, of your book. You say this is a story of a prudent nurse. Okay, so there's a certain focus on the genre of the story. Okay. So is this book totally stories in format in genre, or could you care to
Actually,
elaborate?
okay, so actually, the format of the story is where the surprises comes. if if you grab a copy of the book, you will be surprised that you will be shocked because actually the format of the story of the book is not totally sorry. It comes in a different sectors. It started with a news, essays, uh, uh, short story, poetry, features, and the testimonial. I decided to the reason why I decided to make that kind of format because it connects with each other. One page may be an essay. The third page may be maybe maybe a poem, but all these formats has a central meaning that leads to the ultimate goal of my book, and that is to make to give people a kind of surprise and think about self. How did this person make a book in this kind of format when in fact this book is not actually in a it actually comes in a different genre, and I believe those kind of those kind of a format um, tells tells the readers what's the feeling, what the author wants to convey for them to understand the true meaning and lessons of that book that they can learn or they can get.
Okay. And then I suppose we now go to the meat of the book, okay, which is the life lessons. Okay, the life lessons is the, I guess, the meat of this book. So, so Joel, could you, without giving too much away, so that our viewers will also buy the book,
Mhm.
would you like to share some of the life lessons that you have shared in this book, and so that we can also attract buyers of the book? Okay, so tell us more, a little something about the life lessons you share in this book.
Okay, I would say some of the life lessons that I shared in the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's for me as a nurse, as a person, to always see the bright side of life, never to give up, and most especially to always pray for guidance, especially if you feel that the world is below your feet, and always to persevere in everything you do, and to always make a small sacrifice. These life lessons really help me to be strong, to be brave, and to uh, always strive for the best in my own actions and in everything that I do.
Mhm. Can you give some examples of a life lesson?
Okay, this is one example. So ever since when I became a nurse, it is always my dream to go to the United States of America to be able not only to reach my goal but also to be able to get a better future for my family. But things didn't go to it because I thought I would be able to go to America many years ago, but only to find out that the United States of America has a recession at that time. So my visa was denied, my contract was uh was ended, and what I did, I it, those experience helped me to to be focused and always uh, to always wait for the right time. And that example is I believe the sacrament of waiting, that no matter how you wait, it may even take years or months to for you to be able to fulfill your goal. As long as you hang with the Lord, you pray for your goals. You God will always give the longing of your heart according to His will.
Mhm. And this book is unique in a way because this is about a nurse. This is about a nurse.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
what what about being a nurse that you have learned something that any other profession would not have experienced, would not have learned this lesson? Because you are a nurse, you have some access to a special learning, a special life lesson.
Mm, I believe that the special learnings that I have as a nurse is to to be to be yourself and to always be this is what I always say, to be an angel to other people here on earth, because when you are a nurse, you always have daily contacts with your patients, with their families, and this kind of scenario gives you the time to be more in contact with persons, because you are able to develop friendship, trust, and camaraderie with other people, and in turn you develop some kind of synergy between you and the patient, and this synergy leads to a more uh, to a more developed relationship wherein people can share what about their feelings, about their their feelings, their communication, that will benefit the patient, especially for their recovery, healing, and hope.
Mm. Can you give us an anecdote, a particular experience where you really felt that you are a nurse, you are an angel, you are, can you give an example experience?
Okay, so actually this experience is actually it's in the book, but I will just tell you an example. So this happens way back in September 2009, when I was moving from Massachusetts to Connecticut. So this happens not in the hospital, but not in the community, but in the hospital, 30,000 feet uh, on an aircraft. So what happened is, I was during that time, me and the other nurse, we were actually enjoying our journey in the airplane. Then all of a sudden, the the aircraft crew announced that they need a healthcare professional to take care of a passenger who is in severe health dilemma. So me and the other nurse helped the patient, help now our patient, only to find out that this patient has a severe form of hypoglycemia, which is a severe form of low blood sugar. And with our knowledge and skills and the proper attitudes, we were able to revive this patient in our own little ways. And I believe that kind of experience, uh, guided by God, help us to be help us to be a truly a Samaritan person, that no, in any situation we can always be an angel on earth. We can always use our knowledge and skills, for as long as we know what are doing, and we are able to give that person another chance to live.
Let's say somebody is reading this book, but he's not a nurse. Okay? Can he be an angel?
I always believe that each of us has the gift of being an angel. It's only a matter of how we use that being angel in us. We can use that in our own skills, in our own knowledge, or we can just being a role model for other people, as long as our intentions are good, and our kindness are for others, and as long as we don't only think for ourselves, but always to think for the needs of others, and to always see the kindness, generosity in other people.
Mm. Okay. And then, Joel, you make mention of the book that it has created in you a radical and unique individual. Okay. The terms you have used are a little controversial, shall we say? But care to elaborate? Why did you choose this adjective, radical? Radical, unique, I can understand. Radical, maybe controversial.
Well, actually, this actually radical word was um, actually said by actually this word actually was shared to me by a friend of mine, because he always tell me, you're a radical person. I said, what do you mean? So I said, what do you? I said, he told me, find out for yourself. But as I was doing the summary of the book, I found out that being radical is being a person You always advocate for other people. You always advocate for other people. We- and by advocating, you become a man for others. You become God's messenger to always look for the other people first, and always put yourself behind. And I being radical is always believe it's the core of our human existence, wherein we we live here in this earth not only to live, but also we are live to serve other people, and also to spread God's mission, that that as God's student, we have the duty to make this world a better place to live, to our examples, and as being a role model.
Why didn't you use the term subversive?
Well, as we know by the word subversive, it's literally for me subversive is being like an agent of change, and I believe I like to let people know that I like to use the term a little bit more more deep, so that people will reflect and see what does it mean by word. And for me, subversive, it's also, I can also use that word, but I believe the word radical is more fitting uh, of what I am as a person, and also what the contents of the book all about.
Yes. And then Joel, you've also mentioned that everything that you have become, okay, everything that you are doing is in loving service to God and others. Okay? So even becoming a radical
Yes.
and unique individual. So could you please elaborate on this loving service to God and others?
Okay. I chose to use the word in loving service to God and others, because even as a person, I already told myself that whatever I do to the least of my brethren for other people, I owe it to God. And as I always tell to my family, and even to my coworkers, whatever we do, there's a reason why we have to do it. We have to give back the glory and the praises to God, because without all this, without God, we are nothing. And by loving, and in loving service to our God and others, we share all these things to other people. We share everything that what we have, our kindness and generosity, because this is our mission. Our mission is to spread the good news to other people, and to make other people happy. And what a better way to please to God, to make Him happy, is for us to share what we have. Because in the end, by loving other people in service to God and to others, we are fulfilling God's mission to make this world a better place to live in, and also in preparation for our second home in heaven.
Yes, good. And Joel, you're also a JVP Batch 11, right? JVP,
Yes.
Jesuit
Yeah.
Volunteer Batch 11.
Yeah.
Okay. And how does your being a JVP play in this book, in this book of this, in this story of a prudent nurse?
Actually, the JBP, as I would say, has played a pivotal role in this book, because in one part of the book, in one part of the book, I share how JBP has helped me to write the story of my, I would say, the story of my life. Not really as a story of my life, but the story of a nurse, wherein people can learn something. They will be able to learn something that as a volunteer, as a former volunteer, as a nurse, we can do something. We can do something not only for ourselves, but also for other people, wherein they can uh, they can pick up some lesson and learn that we can learn something from the story of that person, because he is true to himself, and he's always offered this everything he do to God and for other people.
All right. So, Joel, eh, I guess it's time to sell the book. Okay. So, Joel, that how can people buy the book? How can people buy
Okay,
the book?
so for anyone who are interested to grab a copy of the book, i- actually before anything else, the book comes in two format. There's the hard copy, and also there is the Kindle version wherein you can download in your you can download the book uh, in like a Kindle form and down it to your laptop or electronic devices. Now, if you the book can be purchased through Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and iUniverse iUniverse.com. You can you can click all those three book internet websites. Click the title of the story of the Prudent Nurse, and then it will it will show you how you'll be able to avail of the book. But also, and 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 the good thing with that book, because that book is not only for the profit of the book, it doesn't come to me, but it goes to three charitable institutions.
What if somebody says, "Why should I buy the book? I'm not a nurse."
That's a very intriguing question. Well, I believe that even though if you if you're not a nurse, you can still buy a book because you'll be able to learn something from the experience that I have as a nurse and as a person who who experienced poverty and then clone my way to be able to get out of a party and be successful in my own life. And also, the person can also buy a book even though he is not, because he is able to help other people to give the chance to go back to school. Because as you know, this book has three charitable institutions wherein we can help a volunteer become a JBB volunteer, able to put students into nursing school and able to build a church.
Why should maybe let's say somebody says, "Why should I buy this book? I don't even know what prudent means."
Well, if, I believe if they, I think the person should do it assignment, see what food is all about, because this will give them an idea what the book is all about and what the prudence word means.
Actually, that's a real question. My
Yeah,
my mother asked me prudence, asked me the meaning of prudence. I had to double check my dictionary.
yeah,
But I sometimes in my readings very not very often do I read prudence
yep.
written in many texts, and this
Mm.
is one of the books, if not the only book I have read which it's in the title. You have used the term prudent. Okay, so we will sign off now. Joel, would you like to say your parting words to our viewers before we
Okay.
sign off?
First of all, thank you for staying with us for our conversation with Sir Kumaguan. I will I and also like to thank for those people who have already bought the book, uh, and who for supporting in this venture, and also like to encourage those who are the bookworms people who like to be able to buy the book, because I believe you, this is one of the kind of book that we, you wanna read, because the contents of the book are not fiction. They are all facts that will even make you cry, because some of the stories in the book are very are usually are I say are feelings that say wherein it will make you cry. It will make you cry because these are true to life experience that you will learn something.
Yeah, I can think of one more reason for people to buy the book.
Thank
especially
you.
for those who are not nurses. Joel is a nurse, and yet he writes
Thank you.
in itself. For medic
Yep,
can also write. They can write. A janitor can write, right?
exactly.
A teacher can write. Yes. Let's say who is unlikely to write? Let's say a clerk, an office clerk. Okay, an office
Yeah.
clerk. He's not likely to write something, but he can. He can. Like a Joel, he's a nurse, but he has written something, and he has
Mm.
contributed to literature. He has contributed to this to this knowledge, to this body of knowledge, and uh, and I think what Joel has contributed is also to this body of knowledge regarding spirituality, right?
Yes, yes,
This book is not only about information; it's
yes,
also about spirituality and personal growth.
yes, yes, sir. True.
Could you encourage a few words to encourage people who are thinking about writing but have not gotten around to do their own writing?
Okay, for those people who are really want to write, the first thing I always encourage other people always before you do anything you have to pray for the guidance of the Holy Spirit because when you start writing something, it's no longer you who is the author of what you write. It's already God who is instructing you to write the story, your story. And I believe with prayers and also inspiration by the Holy Spirit, um, you'll be able to make your own story and always never to give up writing because in my experience when I started writing I received a lot of rejection. Editors was telling me, oh, your article has no substance, no meaning, no substance. But after continuously writing, that's when I learned that in my own way I was already developing the craft. And I always believe this craft doesn't come from me. It always comes from the one above because it's always the author. We are just, we call this the messenger, but the author is actually God. So I always say continue writing and never give up. Always make a small sacrifice and persevere in everything what they do.
Wow, Joel, thank you so much. What a fitting message to close our program.
Thank you.
All right, so dear friends, learn more about this book. Purchase this book. Okay, purchase this
Yes,
book.
thank you.
Share this book to others, and learn from the story of the Prudent Nurse. Joel, thank you so much. We're
Thank
signing
you,
off.
sir. Thank you.
Okay, bye bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye. Thank you.